Well, the Bible has several mysteries, and we hopefully cleared up a little confusion about the offerings of Cain and Abel. But today I am afraid I'm going to leave you with doubt about the mark of Cain. Maybe you don't even know what that is. I'm not sure that I had heard of it and or heard it preached on. And so today we're going to be looking at the mark of Cain. But we saw the terrible slaying of Abel. We saw the terrible attitude of Cain. And we talked yesterday about seeing the consequences that would come to Cain as a result of not just his offering, but his attitude and his murder of his brother. Certainly 3 strikes and you're out. But we have some things that we're going to reveal about God today as well. So before we go any further, let's take a look at verses 11 through 15. Now you are cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you cultivate the ground, it will no longer yield its strength to you. You will be a vagrant and a wanderer on the earth. Cain said to the Lord, "My punishment is too great to bear. Behold, you have driven me this day from the face of the ground, and from your face, and I will be hidden, and I will be a vagrant and a wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me." So the Lord said to him, "Therefore, whoever kills Cain, vengeance will be taken on him 7-fold. And the Lord appointed a sign for Cain, so that no one finding him would slay him." Well, Cain's punishment was clear. He'd be cursed. Remember, the serpent that was cursed. That's not a good thing, to be cursed by God. And it says that not only would he be cursed by God and separated from God, that trying to raise any crops would be a real burden, that he would never be successful in raising crops. He'd be a vagrant, a wanderer on the earth. And Cain comes back and he says in verse 13, "It's too much to bear." And he says, "I'm afraid that people will find me, know that I killed my brother, and then they'll kill me in vengeance." Now that makes sense, because remember, we started out with Adam and Eve, and then we had Cain and Abel. We don't know if there's other children that were not listed here at this time, but we do know that because of the length of time that the children lived, that there was a very good possibility that some of the descendants of Abel or some of the descendants of Adam and Eve would know what happened and would seek revenge on Cain. So it makes sense that he was fearful of being taken advantage of and having vengeance against him. But what's really interesting here is that he was more afraid of what man could do to him than he was about what God could do to him. Let that sink in for just a second. He was more concerned with what man could do to him than he was with what God could do to him. And that's a bad place to be. I'm fearful that a lot of people today have the same problem. They're more afraid of what man can do to them than what God can do to them. Well, there's one more statement there in verse 15 that has been debated for centuries, and that is the sign that was put on Cain. Now, we know that God didn't paint a sign and hang it around Cain's neck saying, "I killed my brother, but you better not touch me because God will bring vengeance 7-fold on you." Many commentaries speculate that this was not a tattoo. This was not some kind of mutilation of Cain's body. And some thought that it might be some kind of affirmity that was placed on Cain. Some have said a tremulous, which is a quivering or a trembling. Others have said that it might be something like insanity, leprosy, something that would keep people away from Cain and keep him from being killed. The mark of Cain. A lot of people have said the mark of Cain. What is the mark of Cain? Well, in reality, Although we know from a practical, physical standpoint it was a mark that would keep people from killing Cain, it also is a mark that shows the grace and the mercy of God. You see, the Bible clearly teaches that death sentence is not something that God doesn't agree with. Death sentence seems to be very clearly spelled out in the Old Testament. But when we think about Cain and what he had done, brought an inferior offering, had a bad attitude, was insubordinate to God, and had a bad attitude all the way around, and then actually committed murder. And for God to protect him against receiving the same fate is absolutely a sign of God's mercy and his grace, that he would even take a murderer and provide for him an opportunity for repentance. But if the mark was truly the fact of insanity or some other hideous thing that would keep people away from Cain, then it would seem it would be quite appropriate for a punishment, maybe worse than death. Nevertheless, we'll never know because the Bible doesn't reveal it, and all you can do is divine speculation. And that's my thought for the day. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow to take a look at some of the genealogy of the book of Genesis.